Typecasting forms when film actors in the silent era play continuous roles because the public responded well to their character roles. Behind this aspect of art as films, typecasting is a process that life imitates art, imitates life. Charlie Chaplin, whom several roles were written for as the silent film era was at its peak, and he was playing the now iconic role of the overdramatic, not so tough, but very durable, and maybe a little clumsy average Joe. The role suited him well for decades after his debut in the 1914 film Making a Living, but it was after The Tramp of 1915 that his role stuck and roles were then written for that character type. In the 1920s, Gloria Swanson, as she goes from a famous face with accentuated motion in the 1920s silent films, and that image carries her through talkies and even into roles all the way into the 1950s, where again she's a face, but now in a hit film, Sunset Boulevard of 1950. In the evolution to typecasting from the early 20s, and now having reached the post-World War I era and past the Great Depression, typecasting is used as a method of writing scripts. Mona Freeman, who often cast as a chipper, girl-next-door type, casted in the 1940s and the 1950s in well over 30 films, ranging from Till We Meet Again of 1944, Dear Brad of 1951, Angel Face of 1953, and many more. Overlapping the 1940s into the 1950s, Donna Reed, an actress and comedian, was typecast after her role in It's a Wonderful Life of 1946 and played the modern wife all the way through over 40 films and a television series popular from the 1950s and even eventually landing on the 1980s television drama series Dallas. By the 1960s, John Wayne and Steve McQueen had already typecast as hero cowboys, but Steve McQueen had moved into the 60s, being known as the King of Cool for his roles as the level-headed hustler, heistman, and lover boy in films such as Love with the Proper Stranger, 1963, The Cincinnati Kid, 1965, The Thomas Crown Affair, and that takes us right into the 1970s, where he also starred in roles in Le Mans, 1971, The Getaway, 1972, and Papillion, 1973. Typecasting was a standard practice at this time for writers of blockbuster hits. A few notables from the 70s disco era into the 80s were Donna Summer, Robert Redford, and Harrison Ford. In the 1980s, as we see the progression from great actor in a created role, doing such a great job that the other scripts are then written for that character type, but also that many films are written to have characters with certain personality types or types of charisma, and when somebody comes to mind for a character on a script, it's hard to imagine anyone else for that role. We see common roles from Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, Mickey Rourke, who played roles that were all familiar to them well into the 1990s. The 1990s gave us Brittany Murphy. She debuted as a troublesome pop teen in the 1995 film Clueless, and as she grew was placed into the role of troubled girl from 1999's Girl Interrupted, and then again 2002 as the troubled girl in Eminem's 8 Mile, before doing a comedy love story where the troubles are a little more humorous in 2003's Just Married with Ashton Kutcher. As typecasting moves from the 1990s into the 2000s, after a supporting role as a hardhead soldier in Saving Private Ryan in 1998, Vin Diesel landed a lead role as an adrenaline-pumping car buff, The Fast and the Furious, 1999. Vin Diesel went on to play other adrenaline-pumping tough guy roles from Boiler Room, 2000, Triple X, 2002, A Man Apart, 2003, and several films before they ever tame his character type in The Pacifier, 2005. In short, today's versatility brings new actors in many films rather than going with the standard of typecasted roles as they did in the 50s and 60s, but often does it through typecast roles with current pop icons or film stars. This all goes into and affects the rest of the entertainment world, as it all started with an image on a picture that was sequenced for film.